Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to go over the Clean Air mod, or the Power System Delete as it's also known, depending on the bike. It's Clean Air mod. I'm putting the thing up on screen because clean obviously sounds like clean. But I'm also going to do the Clean Air mod hopefully today. I'll see how that goes, but I'll at least explain how to do that and why I'm doing that. And if I sound a little bit funny, it's because I've got my helmet on to do the audio just a little bit easier for me. First things first, you've got to take the seat off. So the first thing to do to get that off, all you've got to do is turn it a very slight amount, just like that. Push the front of that down and it lifts the back, push it back slightly, and that's that off. Nice and simple. Then inside there is a bracket for the seat. Mine didn't have one on originally, but I knew there was supposed to be one, so I bought one for it and put that on there. All you've got to do is, it's right here, I won't move you so you can see it because there's only a bracket, just a bolt here, so just undo that, quickly do that and I'll be back with you. Just a small 10mm bolt with a washer, and then the bracket actually comes out, you just pull it back and out, easy. Then the seat will come off, just like that, and pull it back. Super easy. Now for taking the tank off, it's easy. First of all, this is just an overflow pipe, just wiggling it a bit and pulling it without trying to force it too much. That should come off. Probably don't really need to take off, but it's just less dangling about and stuff. To get the tank off, all you have to do is undo these. Should be able to get them off relatively easy. Here, I think you can see from there just about. Two at the front, set same size. Just undo those. Move the bars around a little bit. Just make it a little bit easier getting to these ones. And they just come out nice and easy. They've got a washer with them, so try not to sort of lose that. Put them somewhere safe and take these two off. This is a very easy tank to take off, as you'll see in a sec. I'll just have to lift the tank once I've got the fuel switch off, pull the fuel hose off the bottom, which is nice and easy to do. I'll just move the camera a little bit. I've got the JS screwdriver, it's just so you can see this bit a little bit more. I can always zoom in a little bit. You just got to get it in, get a feel till you're on it, and then just unscrew. Might be better to hold it. Just a little screw like that. When you are ready to lift the tank, just remember there's still a little bit of the fuel switch in the way, so when you lift it, you want to lift it and just move it to the away from it. Go get around the other side because the camera's a bit in my way. Just lift it enough to get to a little clip. You might need pliers for it, but my one moves easy enough. Wait, tiny bit of fuel in there. But once that's off, I should be able to just lift it up like that and out of the way. Nice and easy. And trust me, I put my tools in the way. Yeah, that's a new hose that I fitted. Some of you may have seen the video where I show about it. For the Clean Air mod that I haven't done, we will be removing this pipe from the airbox. I'm not going to do it as such just yet. I'm going to take the pipe off because it will have to come off anyway. But that's the crankcase breather. It's all the exhaust gases that, what do they call it, pass by or something. That's where the exhaust gases get past the piston rings into the crankcase. Pressure builds up, then the, what is it, the PCV valve or whatever it's called, will release that pressure and it'll come up here and it'll go through the engine to be recycled through there. So it's called the Clean Air mod because obviously removing this, you'll just have a clean air going in the engine, no used exhaust gases or anything that come from the combustion chambers that get into the crankcase. So we'll redirect that. A lot of people just redirect it to a filter into the air. We will do that, but I'm going to also connect it to the Power System, but with a little filter as well, because that way some of it will hopefully get to through the Power System. But I won't have the vacuum pump that we took off. I won't be reusing that, but I'll show you all that when I put it back on. I've put that down as well so I can show you what I did take off originally. Now I need to take these bolts out. I've also got new seals for the airbox, for the top here and for the bottom part. I couldn't see them when I took them off. I didn't look at the top bits if they're stuck in there, but I put new ones anyway so I can replace them. Don't worry, I won't make you watch it all. Not even sped up either, you know, undo bolts surely. These ones go quite far in, they do sort of stick to the rubber and that, so they can take a little while to take out these ones. And I keep them separate for the ones underneath. There's 3 here that I will be taking off, and 2 inside. Right, now all them bolts are off. I should be able to just lift that up and you can see my KLEEN air filter. I'm looking in here and there is no seal. There should be a seal in here. I didn't think there was, so I bought a new seal for this. And when I start putting this back together, I will put that on. There are 2 bolts, 1 hair. I don't know if you'll see it on camera. You'll see where my finger goes. 1 hair, and 3 on the outside to take off to be able to lift the whole box off. Don't need to remove the filter itself. So wish I had a shed or a garage to work in there. So that way I'll take my time much more with the filming and the work itself. I feel like you can just pull it when it gets towards the end, but it's best to carry on winding it. You don't want to ruin any of the rubber or plastic. But now those 5 are out. You can lift, well actually I've got to undo 2 screws things. That's just to remove them from the inlet pipes, air intake pipes. That should be enough. I don't want to totally untie them because totally undo them even. Just enough for the threads are stuck going into the end bit where they go into, otherwise they'll sort of ping apart and they might be a bit of a pain to get back on. Now we've got all them things off and that. I'll put the new seals on when I put it back together. I should be able to lift it off the things, carburettors. It is coming off. I just don't want to force it. There you go. That's off the carbs. And then you just got to pull it out of the tubes like that. There is this drain pipe thing here. You can pull it all the way out. I might just take the clip off, pull that back. That is just loose down there anyway. Just a bit easier to leave it in place, and then I can take that off. And see the carbs. I also got some shims to put on the main needles, which are in the hair, obviously. I can't say that word. So this is what I took off. Got 2 pipes here. This is where the reed valves are inside these parts, and that's where people usually put block off plates. And that removes these pipes. I just bought new ones of these because they're not bad, but parts are getting so hard to get now. I thought, because they're one-off item, you won't get them from no one but Kawasaki. I thought what I'll do is buy them while they're still available, and I may put them on. I may unblock these ones, so I blocked them with Sugrue and then taped them up. But this is what comes off there. This is a little vacuum pump. That's probably very low pressure. That's just a bit of, I don't know why someone's put a bit of paint on that. I think that's like a carbon filter. The air goes right through the middle, but there's a carbon filter which is similar to my ram end filter what I've got to put on the end here. These connect in here. That pipe I showed you earlier, that connects up in here. That's been blocked off and that could just be left. I was going to take it off because that goes down and round to the front, and I could take some more piping off and block off down there, but I'm not going to. And this pipe here which goes round, another one which I can take off because I can block this part here with some Sugrue, so I can actually take that pipe off. The only problem with Sugrue is once you do use it, you can't really start the bike for 24 hours. It'll probably be okay, but it's best not to because it takes 24 hours to cure. But yeah, so that tube I just took off would go in this side, air from the airbox would come through here. The vacuum pump would help push the reed valves open, I guess, and that'll go down to the exhaust, just giving some fresh air to the exhaust to burn off any unburnt fuel. But with the mods I've done with the +4 Advancer, the KLEEN filter, the exhaust, etc., that'll be running less lean than they do. So taking this off is okay, in my opinion, and that is better. And that air that would usually go through this system will now go in the engine, which will burn more of the fuel too. So it's going to produce, from all these little things, it's going to produce a little more power, a little more power, a little more power. And then what we're going to do, stunters usually like reroute this crankcase breather up here with a filter on it, which I am going to do. But the reason they do it is because when they're on wheelies at like 12 o'clock, oil from the crankcase can go up through that. Usually you won't unless you've got too much oil in your engine, but they can get oil go up through, so they put a little filter on it, and that helps stop the oil getting out in the atmosphere and making mess and all that sort of thing. They still do a bit over their engine, but it's not so bad and less likely, I think, because they extend the pipe as well, so that makes it less likely, which we are going to do. But I'm going to actually extend the pipe through. Let me just grab a couple of things. You can probably see I've got a load of new clips like these ones, spring clips I think they're called. So I'll probably be using some of these partly to connect, replace these ones. Mind you, that one's in really good nick considering its age. Original stuff on these bikes are zinc plated, that's why these are this sort of colour. Zinc plated things are not always that colour. No, I think these are zinc plated actually, and they're black. But I've got, here we go, what we got, see I've got the replacement for those, which I may or may not use. Like I say, I may take these ones off, unblock them and reuse those. Then these are spares for whenever, if they're ever needed. But what I've got this connector, so that'll go between them. The filter will go on this side, and the pipe will go on this side. But I've got extra pipe here. See, this may have been okay. Let's see how we can reroute that. It will come in here somewhere. Don't know how easy it'll be to sort of bend it to be up here. I may have to like add this to the crankcase, bring that round to a certain extent, cut this down, take the take the crankcase breather off and use that, because that'll be a bit more flexible, and it's got a 90-degree bending, so that'll be good. There's 90 degree, whatever degree it is. But then I can put that into here, this on here, those on there, and that'll be that sorted. But I thought I'd explain it a bit more. I hope I explained it enough, because it might be a bit of a pain to actually do it all, so it might take longer, and obviously filming it will be a pain in the butt. So yeah, like I say, so what I might do is have to take this off the crankcase to use that up here, route that through there, cut this pipe down. I have got another bit of tubing, plastic tubing, which will go in here and connect the other tube, and we'll be away. Also, what I've got here, I don't know how easy this is going to be to show you. Hopefully that is focusing enough on them. I've got these shims, or little washers. They're M4s, hopefully you can see them. If not, I'll put a picture up. They're M4s, I only need 4 of them, there's 10 in this little pack. But what I need to do is take these caps off, and in there they've got the diaphragm and the main needle, which you can see down in there. But yeah, I hope I explained what I'm going to do properly, or well enough I mean. So I'm going to connect the crankcase breather to the PES system stroke clean air system, with a filter as well, so it can still draw in air or relieve the pressure through that if the reed valves don't open so easy, you know. But then the engine's kind of got options. But that will stop dirty air going through the engine and stop air from the airbox also being used in the exhaust. So that's the point of doing it. The point of doing these is that will lift the needles slightly, give them a little bit more fuel going through. So we'll have more air in, more fuel, more power. The reason I'm not going to now get on with it is because it's getting later in the day. That'll be a pain making sure the cameras keep going, and I'll want to probably go from side to side of the bike and stuff like that. But when I eventually finish it, maybe not today like I say, maybe tomorrow, but I may be out tomorrow to help someone do some stuff with their bike. So maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after, I'll sort of get on with it, and once I'm happy with what I've done, I'll come back to you, let you know if I've done this, let you know, show you if I've done that, or show you that I've done that. I won't start recording again if I haven't. But I've waffled enough for this part, so for a second for you, or a split second for you, not even that, and for me that's going to be a couple of days. Well, welcome back a couple of days later, because yesterday I was helping a friend's son prep his KTM Duke 125 for removing the engine and putting a new one in, which he's getting delivered during the week. That's all ready, just need to take the mounting box out and lower that, etc., which is quite a fun little project to do, but unfortunately no filming of that. I'm going to catch you up on what I've been doing. So let me just move this for a minute, that's just sort of covering the carbs up. So what I've done so far Connected a new pipe for the crankcase breather, put that round here, connected it to the old crankcase breather because that's more bendy. Got a crossbar plastic thing to connect that to, and to the ram air filter. That's just so some air can get in to go down to the reed valves if necessary, if they open up. And I've got new pipes for this, so I fitted those because the other ones are blocked up and they're old anyway, and while these are available I thought I'd get some new ones. And yeah, so the crankcase pressure release valve will release the pressure from there. Usually that'd go in the airbox. I'm going to block that off with some Sugo because that's the only one part I haven't blocked. I'll block this here, and that should be all, yeah, that's all cured because that was a couple of days ago. I've got blocked the last airbox hole what the crankcase breather went in. But like I say, that will allow the pressure release to come through, and that'll either come out through the filter, and the filter will filter out all the dirty stuff, because that's basically exhaust gases that pass through the piston rings as they move up and down, as the pistons go up and down. And this is usually just air going into the exhaust from the airbox just to burn off the excess fuel, so still that will be able to suck in some air through there if it wants to. And so that's all connected to each other. Sometimes people just block these off, and stunters do this one so when they're on wheelies they don't get oil on in their airbox. But I've done it all so I get clean air into the pistons, nothing from the crankcase, but also the air that would have been sucked through the clean air system, or PAIR system as it's also known on other make bikes and all that. That's now going to go into the engine as well, so more air, obviously more power. And I've now shimmed these three needles. Hopefully you can see the needles just in there. You can move these up and down. You've got to make sure they're still doing this afterwards. But I've got this one still to do, so I thought I'd show you how to quickly do that one. But I thought I'll just put the camera on my helmet, so sorry if there's a lot of movement from my head. But I'll try my best to show you this. I'm covering that up, and I'm using this for a little table at the same time. But all we need is a JIS screwdriver and a little shim, which is a M4 washer, so it's 4mm internal diameter, 8mm outer diameter, and 0.5mm thick. I've already loosened these because I loosened them all before doing the others. And this is the easiest one because these ones have got things in the way, and this one's got the true cable connected, and this one's got a couple of things in the way, but not too bad. But I thought I'd show you this one because that's the easiest, so I'll just got to undo the 4 screws. I did also get new seals for here where the airbox goes on, and for between the two halves of the airbox, which were missing on my bike, so I've obviously perished at some point, and someone hasn't replaced them either because they didn't realise they needed replacing, or they weren't there. But they're nice and cheap, so I got some of those. Got to be careful here because there's a spring. That'll just come off like that, and come off like that. There's just a little gap for that to go in on there. Got to remember there's a little extra bit on these ones which goes to the bottom, and I'll show you why in a sec. Just peel them very gently. These come off nice and easy, luckily for me. They've probably been off not too long ago, in the past couple of years or few years. So there's your needle, because they were ultrasonically cleaned. This will be stuck slightly to this, so you just pop that off. Remember to keep that in the same orientation just so everything goes back together the same way. Just pop the needle up, pull that out. Find the shim that I've misplaced because I weren't keeping an eye on things when I was moving things about. Not a huge deal. It's probably fell on the floor or something if I have dropped it. And I've got more, so it's okay. Let me show you in there. Hopefully you can see there, you've got the shape for where the diaphragm goes through. When you do a jet kit as well, obviously you fit main and pilot jets or whatever, they also give you a little drill bit to drill these out to get more air through. I was considering doing that anyway, but I think it's probably not necessary. By miracle, I just found that shim on the floor. And you just pop that on there. They're quite sharp actually, those needles. Make sure it's clean. When you put it back in here, just make sure it goes through the middle one where it's supposed to be. Just pull it down, but it doesn't click in place or anything, but that's fine. They're meant to be wobbly as well. Just make sure that's in the right orientation. This bit goes at the bottom, so you just make sure that goes in the same way. I don't think that's really different this way or that way. Some of them have to be exact, I think. Yeah, I don't think that makes a difference on this. There's a little spring at the bottom, so it will pop up a little bit, because obviously they were stuck down before for just being there for ages. But then you just, I'll put that back in. Just put that in its shape. As you push it in, you can see it goes straight into its hole. And just make sure that goes in. Then just make sure the diaphragm is all in its little hole, and that little tab bit at the back goes in its little gap. And then what you want to do is, don't forget to put the spring on. Put that over there. And what I like to do before putting the screws in, just check it's working as it should be, and if it is, like it is, grab the first screw, get your screwdriver, turn it back until it clicks, and screw it in just until it gets to a stop. Always like to do that, because just make sure you're not going to cross thread them. Now that one I tightened a little bit more than I did the others. The others I just screwed until they stopped, because the ovens are right down anyway, so I just give them two a bit of a tight, and then the first two just a bit of a nip. Don't want too tight, it's obviously just on plastic. Just double check that one's alright. And that's how easy it is to shim your needles in your carbs. And all I've got to do is put it all back together, make sure this sit in the little gap of the airbox, so the airbox bit goes in there, and we're done. I probably should really run it and get out of the heat, then tune the carbs, but I'm going to see how it is for now. This was just moved out of the way while I was doing it. They just go back into those. There you go. Maybe I'll cut that bit out, or maybe I won't. But yeah, so I should be getting another little bit of extra air and a little bit extra fuel. So I'm going to leave it there. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. And I'll let you know how it is when I next go and ride it. I have ridden it since, when did I ride it? Thursday, I think it was, since doing the clean air mod, removing the power system, blocking it off and all that. And I'm sure there was a difference. It definitely felt like it wanted to lift the wheel up a bit more eagerly from lower down in the revs. That was always really good, all the way from the first touch of the throttle right up to 6,000 where it becomes ballistic. But yeah, I'll leave you there with it, and I'll let you know how it goes in a video soon. There may be other videos before I speak about it, because I've got all sorts still to edit. But yeah, that's that basically. I'll see you soon.